So 25th is usually the heats. So because we get over 100 surfers that come for this. So and then Saturday, Sunday will be more the quarterfinals and finals.
How many countries will the participants
At the moment, see, there's two events. One is the national category. So the national category is for all the locals all over India. Then we have one open category. So at the moment, I think we have registrations from Australia, France,
Maldives, Sri Lanka,
okay, US, Maldives, Sri Lanka.
Foreign entries over the years, has it grown or?
No, absolutely. It's year-on-year grown. It's 2 years back we ran one Asian surfing circuit event. As you know, most events are very expensive, so we can't keep running it. But we ran that, and that time we had surfers from all over Asia. So we had about 25 people who had come just for that. But other than that, the open category or the international thing year-on-year has definitely increased. One category that we have been very happy to see has grown is actually the women's category. So I think the 4 years back we didn't have any women actually taking part, but the last 3 years we've had that category really grow. So we're happy with that.
It says it's a surf, music and yoga festival, but surfing மட்டுமே importance அதிகமா கொடுத்த மாதிரி இருக்கிறதுக்கு காரணம்?
Not really. Actually, if you see this year, there's a lot of prominence on yoga. We have over 16 yogis who come down.
Yeah, we have facilitators who come from all over the world and who gives workshops, various workshops. Some of them are yoga driven, some of them are arts driven. We have musicians, of course, from India, but from around the world. One of them is from New Zealand, standing right there. His name is Harley, who's going to facilitate anything from main stage up to different small workshops on music and meditation. So it's a very international event. It's actually been placing itself pretty much on the international map. We get, other than of course the surfing, who gets very much international attention, also the festival itself gets a lot of international attention in terms of tourism, which is really the main thing we want to develop in the village in terms of business.
Would you like to talk about the impact of the earlier festivals?
Yeah, sure. See, like I mentioned, I mean there are two aspects to it. One is the sport and one is the tourism aspect. So we really feel that the sport has grown year on year, and if you look at 5 years back, actually for a lot of the activity, I mean people hardly went jogging or cycling or something. If you look at the last 5-6 years, people are very conscious of sport, health, lifestyle. So surfing has been one of those things that have grown with it. So as a fun weekend sport, it has grown rapidly. I mean, there's every weekend there are over 150, 200 people who come out to surf along that coast, whether it's Kovalam or Mahabalipuram. And on the village as such, the numbers are just growing. I mean, what started with maybe a handful of these boys at the beginning, today there are over 150, 200 surfers just in the village. So what we're trying to do is one promote surfing as such, and we really feel this entire coast has the potential to become really a surfing destination. So India was never on the map for surfing, but now it's more and more gaining importance, and people are actually surprised that we have surfing. So apart from the mainland, we also have fantastic surf points in Andamans and Lakshadweep that are still unexplored. So if you look at, for example, in Australia, the surf industry is a $3 billion industry. So this is not even, we haven't even started. So that's the potential of India.
How expensive is this for a parent who wants to put the kid into it?
See, for an initial course, it ranges anything from say 1,200 to 1,500 rupees for a 1 to 2 hour introduction. So you need to learn the basics. You need to know a little surfing, it helps. I mean, little swimming. But after that, it's really up to the individual to go back and get better. So you can just hire a board and go, which is a couple of hundred rupees. So
and safety?
See, safety-wise, it's actually most incidents that happen on our coast are either because, and I know there have been a lot in the news, is most of the people don't know how to swim or they're drunk. And a lot of the ladies go in with saris, which actually is the perfect anchor to just sink because it soaks up so much. But if you look at from surfing, there's not a single incident, touch wood, till now. In fact, we've had a lot of close association with the coastal security, where we've actually trained the coastal security on life-saving skills. The best form of saving anybody, and most of the accidents happen in the span of 100 feet, if not more than that. So the best form of actually saving somebody is grabbing a surfboard and going up. That's the quickest. It's not a boat, it's not a jet ski, it's actually... And these guys have actually pulled out a lot of people in Kovalam over the last few years. They've saved lives.
And we make this here in India?
The surfboards, there is a couple of them for making. There's one very prominent one in Pondicherry. There used to be one in Mahabalipuram as well. Then you get Decathlon, being a big sports store, has brought in a lot of boards now. Like I said, it's a growing industry. It'll take a few years for it to make sense as a business, but it will definitely be quite big at some point.
Mr. Vasu, in terms of numbers, how has the number of participants increased from the first edition to the second edition?
I think the first edition we must have had about
70
odd people. So year on year it's going up. I know this year we probably have close to about 140, 50.
So it's doubled over the years?
Yeah.
Across categories?
Across the categories. And like I said, the women's thing has been the most growth.
And has the level of competition also increased with the increased number of participants?
Absolutely. I mean, the level has gone up, I mean, from 5 years ago to now, and a lot of them have had the opportunity to go abroad and also surf. So they've seen the levels of some of the international stars. So they are really, I think in a few years we could really have a competition at some point. And I think the dream for all of us to get somebody in the Olympics, now that it's a recognized sport.
So what's the prize money like?
So generally all the categories carry about 25,000 rupees first place, second place is 15 and third place is 10,000 rupees. And the open category is around 50,000 rupees first place and the runner-up is 25.
Considering this is all privately funded, not supported by...
And I think we also throw in a lot of like cameras, GoPro cameras, and a lot of accessories and surf accessories and all that.
As part of the prize?
As part of the prize, yes.
இப்போ இங்கே நம்ம ஏரியாவில் இருக்க சீக்கும் இப்போ வெளியில் இன்டர்நேஷ்னல் லெவல் காம்படிஷன் போகிறப்ப அந்த சி லெவலில் சில இதெல்லாம் இருக்கும் சேஞ்சஸ் இருக்கும் அது என்ன டிஃபிகல்ட்டிஸ் ஃபேஸ் பை தி
See, the conditions vary from place to place. So our place we get decent waves, but you can't compare it to Bali or Australia or something because the waves are much bigger. The way they actually fall are different. So each place, just between say Kovalam and Mahabalipuram would be a difference. So that's the challenge. And between the east coast and west coast, it's very different. So that is something they have to adapt to, and to get better. Now, one thing on the sponsors I need to mention is, a lot of these sponsors like LMW and Radiance and the Murugappa Group and all have been very supportive. It's difficult getting sponsors for any small sport or a new sport, like you all know. Most of it goes to cricket, but it's gaining ground, and it's a lot of work getting them on board. But a lot of them see a lot of good work that we've done, and they are coming forward. So I need to thank a lot of the sponsors other than myself for supporting the sport.
I think I would just ask Mr. Arun to talk about how exactly TT Group has helped Covelongpoint Social Surf School over the years. So if you could just throw a light.
Necessarily talk about myself.
In fact, I wanted to ask you, and your own interest in this, is there a story?
Sure. Now, I've basically been involved in water sports for over 30 years now. And I've run a few water sports centers 20 years ago, but mostly in windsurfing, water skiing and stuff. So surfing actually I'd never done it till I met Murthy. So now I'm somewhere in the intermediary level. But I will take part, and I'm hoping he'll make a mistake and I get a few points on him.
Are there similarly placed, company heads like you in this game?
No, there are a lot of people
in
coming.
your age.
Yeah.
All this.
Younger than me, actually. No, a lot of people are coming out. If you see on the weekend, if you come to the different surf schools, you'll see that everybody from TVS or Mugappa, or I mean they're all there. The youngsters are all coming out. It's a great sport. It's a very easy sport. You just need a board. Once you know the basics, you just keep at it. And the ocean is free, so it's actually a very accessible sport to learn. And that's the one thing that the locals, the fishing community have really, it's on their doorstep, and it's the best thing they can do to stay fit and healthy and make a living.
Yeah, one final question from me is about the point you mentioned about the potential for surfing along the coast. So what should be done to harvest that potential?
Yeah. See, definitely one as a sport to move forward for India to really be placed, we need support from the sports ministry and government and stuff, because they need to practically travel the whole year and do at least I think two surf events a month to really come to that level, and which costs money at the end of the day. And there are competitions all over Asia, in Australia, US, all over the place. So if they need to be in the World Surfing League, we need that support, that backing from surfing. So we're hoping now that the sport has been recognized by Olympics and Asian Games. We feel there will be some funds allocated towards this. So we will be working on that. And of course, more sponsors always help, because we need more than one person to go forward. Like I said, as a tourism thing, again, if I talk about Tamil Nadu tourism, they can really use this to bring in millions of people. There are, I don't know how many surfers in the world, but people are looking for new places to go to, and this is great. I mean, today people just don't want to go visit just temples or wildlife parks. They want to do activity. So this is one of them they can really use to bring people into the country.
A critical point about this was the support that you had from the local community, from the village. So, in the Madri support of the villages like Kadikama along the coast.
See, it's been growing. We've been getting requests from other places also to help them start a surf school.
Any examples?
There's one recently we helped in Pondicherry. We've had requests from Vizag. We've had requests from the other western coast also. So it's also to find the right person who will really carry that forward. We were lucky to have Murthy here to drive that in his village, which has really benefited the whole community there.
We have one question from Mr. Vivek from Times of India. What?
Question is to Ramon. From the federation viewpoint, could you shed some light on what is the criteria for selection for, say, the World Championships? Like, how important is considering there's a national, people from all over the country are coming. So, how important is the performance here, for example, for India and just in general? What is the criteria for selection? If you could just shed some light.
So the criteria is very simple, as in for stand-up paddling. So they are representing India next week in Denmark at the Sub World Championship at both. So currently Shekhar has been consistently winning the nationals by miles ahead of anyone else, and the same thing applies for Tanvi as well. But they have competition. They have quite a few people who are right behind them. But it's Shekhar and Tanvi, who are doing very well, leading the pack in both men's and women's. Whereas when it comes to surfing, we are yet to put up a strong team to represent India at the world level. I think right after this, I think next month there is the World Junior Surfing Championships in Japan, where we get the invitation to send Team India. But then, it's a team, so we need to send not just one or two surfers, we need to send about, I think, 4 to 6 young junior surfers to Japan. and that's not an easy thing. You know, it requires a lot more sponsorship, and even the level of competition is going to be very high. So the juniors and young surfers at the grassroots levels, you know, they need a lot more exposure. They need to surf different kind of waves. They need to travel a lot. They need to, because surfing it doesn't happen in a stadium or in a restricted space. It happens in ocean, and every place, region is very different conditions. So they need to get a lot more exposure and a lot more. You know, their skill level has to go to a certain level, and then, you know, we can possibly send a team, you know, which we are working on, hopefully.
Also to rank
My question is to
so
both of you. How has been the competition so far, and how much have you gained taking part?
In nationals or international?
No, you said you've been participating the last couple of years here.
Yeah.
How has been the competition over the years, and how much have you gained personally?
Yeah. So when I started stand-up paddling racing for the first time, like my first stand-up paddling race was in Covelong. Like we were just 3 girls, and like the competition, like we didn't know who is gonna win because that was the first ever stand-up paddling race. But so that the competition was not really hard, so we didn't know how the race happens and all those things. But when it came like further, like the next competition and all, like everybody wants to win it, but only one wins. So we used to train hard, like back home, and like we stick at a training, diet and all that. So the competition level has been getting better, and the more you work hard and like spend time in the sport, and even you get better in your sport. Yeah.
So how have you improved?
ஸோ என்னோட இம்ப்ரூவ் எப்படின்னா, நான் வந்து எவ்ரிடே சர்ஃபிங் பண்ணுவேன், ஸ்டாண்டப் எல்லாம் பண்ணுவேன். ஸோ அதெல்லாம் வந்து சைக்கிளிங் பண்ணுவேன். ஸோ எவ்ரிடே வந்து நான் வந்து காம்படிஷன் பண்ணிகிட்டே இருக்கேன். ஏன்னா ஒரு டைம் நான் வின் பண்ண சொல்லியோ, ஸோ என்னோட டைமிங் நான் பார்த்துட்டு வரேன். கொஞ்சம் ஃப்ரண்ட்லாம் போகணும், தவிர பேக்கில் வர மாட்டேன். ஸோ அதே ட்ரைன் பண்ணிகிட்டே இருக்க சொல்லி ஸோ நான் கேட்டேன். ஸோ நம்ம இந்தியாவுக்கு ஓகே, ஸோ இந்த போர்டு, ஸோ இந்த எக்யூப்மெண்ட்டு நான் யூஸ் பண்ணால் ஓரளவுக்கு வந்து நான் வந்து வின் பண்ண முடியும். பட் இன்டர்நேஷனல் வந்து ஸோ அந்த அளவுக்கு அந்த எக்யூப்மெண்ட், நல்ல எக்யூப்மெண்ட் இருந்தால் தான் என்னால் வின் பண்ண முடியாதுன்னு வந்து எங்கள் ஸ்பான்சர் கிட்ட கேட்டேன். ஸோ அதுக்கப்புறம் அவங்களுக்கு சொன்னாங்க, ஓகே நல்ல போர்டு வாங்கி கொடுத்தா அவங்களால வின் பண்ண முடியுமா. ஸோ மேபி இந்த வருஷம் வந்து ஸோ எனக்கு வந்து நல்ல நம்பர் 1 ஸ்டாப் போர்டு வந்துருக்கு. மேபி அந்த போர்டு வச்சுட்டு ஸோ இன்னும் நிறைய ட்ரைன் பண்ணேன். ஸோ ட்ரைன் பண்ணிட்டு தான் இருந்தேன். மேபி இந்த வருஷம் வந்து அவன் போனால் ஸோ பெஸ்ட் கொடுக்க முடியும் நான் நம்புறேன்.
தேங்க்யூ.
So last question. Do we have any kind of ranking system as such for the surfers in India?
Yes. So yeah, every event, you know, we carry, we give points, you know, like as in when the surfers progress from heat to next heat, all the way to the finals. There's a pointing system, and which was introduced at the previous event which we had in Mangalore. So the Covelong, you know, event, the competition will also carry those points.
The second time it's going to be for.
Yeah, the second. So the idea is to have more, like create a circuit, you know, add a few more events. You know, it could be just surfing specific as well, so that, you know, there's a circuit. You know, so then that makes it easy for us to, you know, have a criteria in each category, or, you know, say that we have an opportunity to send a team. You know, we can pick the best based on the pointings.
So Rama, could you please throw light on where exactly do we find this particular link of the ranks of the surfers?
So it's not been published yet because that's going to come after Covelong. So we have the seeding and the pointing from the previous event, and once Covelong happens, you know, so then we'll put everything together and it will be available. You can see the results on the Surfing Federation website.
It's a good thing you are supporting talent like this, sending the.
புரியல சார்.
தமிழ்நாட்டுல கவர்மெண்ட்ல இருந்து உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது என்கரேஜ்மென்ட் ஏதாவது
இதுவரை இந்த ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ்
இதுவே எதிர்பார்க்கறேன். நீங்க பேசுறத பார்த்தா நீங்க வாங்கி கொடுப்பீங்க நினைக்கிறேன்.
இதுவரைக்கும் ஏதாவது அந்த மாதிரி இல்ல, உங்களுக்கு காம்படிஷனுக்கு ஏதாவது இது பண்றாங்களா?
இல்ல சார், இது வரைக்கும் நான் ஒரே ஒரு ஸ்பான்சர் பாவம் அவரு தான் கஷ்டப்பட்டு இருக்கோம்.
பிரைவேட்ல கேக்கல, இங்க இல்ல
கவர்மெண்ட்ல இன்னும் இல்ல சார்.
ஏதாவது மூவ் பண்ணீங்களா அந்த மாதிரி?
கவர்மெண்ட்ல எங்களை வந்து என்கரேஜ் பண்ணவே போகுது சார்.
ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் அகாடமில இருந்து ஏதாவது பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா?
அது எப்படி வழி தெரியல, எங்க யாரா வழி காமிச்சா பண்ணுவோம் சார்.
நீங்க இதுவரைக்கும் அப்ப அப்ரோச்
இல்ல அப்ரோச் பண்ணல நீங்க அப்ப?
I'll correct that. No, we have approached, but we 3 years back for the event, we got some support from the sports secretary. Mr. Hemant Sinha was heading it that time. But after that, again, people change and focuses change. So after that, we have asked, but we've not really been supported on that.
The point I was coming to was that it's a good thing that you are sending this potential talent. Good, I mean, you had sort of spotted the talent, and almost like spotting diamonds in in a heap of whatever. Now you're sending them for international competition. Is there also a need for sending them for training, or we have enough of training facilities here?
No, see like Tanvi traveled a bit abroad and she got some training. I wouldn't say too much. A lot of it have been through their experience of going last year to Fiji, and that was a kind of a learning curve for them. Yes, your question is absolutely right. End of it, they should get a real professional to come and train them. Till now, we've been working more on advice from some of these world champions. So the next level would be to actually bring somebody down to run them the whole year. Yeah, you are right about that.
Thank you.
Last question. I would just ask Mr. Arun to throw light on how exactly TT Group is helping Covelongpoint Surf School. If you could answer that.
Sure.
Thank you.
So like I mentioned before, I mean when I was introduced to Murthy by Yotam and we started supporting the school. So we basically supported as a CSR project, and everybody who, if you come and see our facility now, from a very small humble beginning in the village where we rented a small place, we built a very nice surf school which has a restaurant, few rooms and changing rooms and all that. So it's really like a excellent surf club. So everybody there is employed from the village, and directly we have close to 16 people working for the facility, and indirectly it supports, I would say, more than 50 people in the village. So we, apart from the health programs that we run, health camps for kids, eye camps, beach cleanups. Of course, we educate close to about 50 kids in the village. So everything that is earned there goes back into the village actually. So so that's a movement that we are very passionate about, and we want that to continue. And just one thing I want to add is the festival that we have. For me, what is the most satisfying at the end of the event is actually, there's so many people coming for it, but it's all walks of life. There are no barriers at the event. You could be from the fishing village, or you could be managing director of any company here. But everybody gets along. Actually, the city folk are more surprised how cool the fishermen are at the village, and they're actually absolutely fine with it. So I think that's really beautiful of having no boundaries and having a very good festival there.
Thank you so much.